In this report, I share an itemized estimated cost to retire in Yerevan, Armenia, including rent, utilities, groceries, restaurants, transportation, and other expenses for low to middle range living costs. After completing our Retire Early overseas research for Tbilisi, Georgia, I headed south into Armenia. Americans are allowed visa-free entry to Armenia for up to 180 days. Chung had to apply for an e-visa online and then wait 4 working days before her visa was issued, and then she joined me here. Yerevan is the capital of Armenia. Yerevan was founded in 782 BC by King 𝗪cie when he built the fortress now in ruins on a hill over the city. Armenia was the first country to adopt Christianity as its official state religion when Gregory the Illuminator convinced the king to convert to Christianity in 301 AD. Gregory was called the Illuminator because he is said to have brought the light of Christ into Armenia. Christianity has shaped the Armenian people for over 17 centuries. Armenia does not have a peaceful history. Invading nations have occupied Armenia over and over again, including the Roman Empire, the Mongols, Alexander the Great, the Persian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Soviet Union, among others. During World War I, over 1 million Armenians, including women and children, were executed by the Ottoman Empire. After World War I, Yerevan became the capital of Armenia as thousands of survivors of the genocide returned here. The city expanded rapidly during the 20th century while Armenia was a part of the Soviet Union. In a few decades, Yerevan was transformed from a provincial town within the Russian Empire to Armenia's principal cultural, artistic, and industrial center, as well as becoming the seat of the national government. In 1991, Armenia gained independence upon the fall of the Soviet Union. Much construction has been done throughout the city since the early 2000s, and retail outlets such as restaurants, shops, and street cafes, which were rare during Soviet times, have multiplied. By 2011, the population of Yerevan had grown to over 1 million people, over 35% of Armenia's total population. If this is the first time you've heard of this channel, you can browse hundreds of Retire Cheap reports of your favorite countries on our Vagabond Awake YouTube playlist. We felt very comfortable in Yerevan and we could live here. As I show you more videos of Yerevan, I will share my retirement desirability factors such as visa, medical, walkability, internet, food, weather, things to do, social considerations, expat community, real estate, and my overall retirement desirability score. But first, I want to share my estimated costs of living here if the two of us moved to Yerevan year-round on a tight budget. We will also include middle range costs of living estimates so you have another data point. Okay, estimated cost to retire early in Yerevan, Armenia. Rents. I found this 1-bedroom apartment for rent for $386 per month US. If you rent for a shorter period on Airbnb, it would be much more expensive. So this is a yearly rate. If you rent a larger flat with more space, it could easily be 2 or 3 times as much per month. So the middle range expenses, I would estimate $750 per month on up, depending upon the area and size you choose. Here's the process we use to find great apartments. So we will show you a table of all the expenses in a moment. We will use $386 per month for our lower rent estimate and $750 per month for the middle cost of living estimate for expats who want more space. Okay, utilities. We estimate that year-round average for our utilities would be about $75 US per month. Utilities would cost more for larger space, starting at around $110 per month. Groceries. When possible, we would purchase fruits and vegetables from small shops and street vendors to save money, but we would also shop in grocery stores for non-perishable foods and other things like shampoo and detergent. We estimate about $300 per month for groceries. Other expats are likely to shop more often in expensive grocery stores, often spending more like $400 per month on groceries rather than street vendors and small shops. Restaurants. We would eat out twice per week, mostly in more local-style restaurants, averaging about $7 to $10 per meal per person, and 1 or 2 splurges per month of $12 per meal per person. If you add all that up, we would spend around $220 per month for the two of us. We may have a beer here and there, but that is covered below in alcohol. Other expats are likely to eat more Western-style foods in expat-style restaurants and less in local-style restaurants, so they would likely spend more like $330 per month for 2 people in restaurants. It is lifestyle dependent, of course. Okay, cell phone data. The cost to get a prepaid SIM card for your unlocked smartphone is about $7 per month with 10 gigabytes per month of data. My Android phone will act as a hotspot so we can both be on the internet at the same time when we're out of the house together. Other expat couples are likely to buy 2 prepaid SIM cards, so they would spend more like $14 per month. Laundry. The apartments all seem to have clothes washing machines. The above grocery estimate includes laundry detergent. Drinking water. We didn't see reverse osmosis delivery in 20-liter jugs here, so we would probably get a Brita water filter for the refrigerator. The filter refills would be about $5 per month. Internet. 60 megabits per second up and down is about 23 US for in-home Wi-Fi. Transportation. A monthly pass for buses and trains is about $11 per person per month, so $22 for the two of us. Other expats might spend more riding taxis or on the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗢𝗅 app and less on public transportation, so I estimate about $70 per month for them. Okay, alcohol. Optional. Domestic beer in grocery stores in Yerevan is about 400 dram or $1 USD for 0.45 liters. In bars and restaurants, half-liter draft domestic beer ranges from about $2 to $3 US. We estimate about $120 per month on alcohol for the two of us. Many other expats would spend a higher amount for imported foreign or craft beers in expat bars, so about $220 per month for 2 people, assuming they're not into imported whiskey or wine. Entertainment, which is optional, we would budget about $200 per month for entertainment for the two of us. We enjoy more do-it-yourself kinds of entertainment, so expats would spend a little more, maybe $300 per month for the two of them. All right, let's add it all up. Okay, for the lower cost, rent $386, utilities $75, groceries $300, restaurants $220, cell data $7, laundry $0, drinking water $5, and internet $23, transportation $22. That would be $1,038 for the basic costs. If you add optional alcohol of $120, that would put you at $1,158. If you add optional entertainment of $200, it would put you at $1,278 per month. For the middle range, if you add up the higher rents, utilities, groceries, restaurants, and transportation, you would be at $1,702 per month. With optional alcohol, you'd be at $1,922, and with optional entertainment would put you at $2,222 per month. The above lower estimated cost of living would be if the two of us lived here on a tight budget. The middle estimate is just an example of what other expats might spend if they move here. To understand what it would cost you to live here, you must put your feet on the ground, see what you would choose to rent, where you would choose to eat, how you would entertain yourself, and all your other expenses, and add it all up. It doesn't matter what anyone else spends because we are all different. Okay, Yerevan, Armenia, retirement livability factors. Before you move anywhere outside your home country, make sure to create a list of things you must have for your happy retirement. Here are my retirement livability factors, and I will rank each as high, medium, or low before assigning an overall retirement desirability score to Yerevan. Okay, walkability, I would say high. We walked everywhere in Yerevan. We only booked a taxi to get from the bus station to our apartment and from our apartment to the airport when we flew to Bulgaria. More on that later. If it was raining, we would just hop on public transportation. If you decide to take a taxi somewhere, we recommend the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗢𝗢 app. Okay, internet. I would say high. The Wi-Fi in our Airbnb was 32 megabits per second down and 24 megabits per second up. Good enough for us to do Zoom calls, upload YouTube videos, and watch Netflix. We were also able to use our cell phone as a hotspot when we were out of the house without paying anything extra. Okay, food. I would say high. There is reasonable assortment of foreign foods from around the world, but obviously not as extensive a selection as places like London or Rome. Of course, the prices are cheaper, and most everything is only 20-minute walk from central Yerevan. Okay, weather. I would say median. I was surprised to learn Yerevan averages about 990 meters or 3,248 feet above sea level. So from December until end of February, it snows often, and snow is often on the ground. That means you can even ski and snowboard in the surrounding mountains. Daily highs average from 36 Fahrenheit or 2 Celsius in January up to about 94 Fahrenheit, which is 34 Celsius in July. Nightly lows range from 22 Fahrenheit, which is -6 Celsius in January, to 68 Fahrenheit or 20 Celsius in July. It rains 5 or fewer days every month, except in April and May, when it rains 6 and 8 days respectively. Okay, things to do. I would say high. Yerevan is the capital of Armenia, so there is much to do here. The city is well designed with many public parks full of restaurants and cafes, and there are many sidewalk cafes along the streets. There are museums, live music, people watching, cultural tours, coffee shops, jazz, clubs, live theater, ballet, DJs, house music, venues, shopping malls, art galleries, pool halls, and beautiful places to walk all over the city. There's also extensive 3D art displays throughout the city parks and on random street corners. Artwork is sold in parks all over the city when the weather warms up. If you are a cultural explorer, you're likely to really enjoy your time here. Okay, social considerations. According to Wikipedia, 40% of Armenians have basic knowledge of English. 16% are intermediate and 20% are beginner level. Only 4% have advanced proficiency of English. It seems like people in the service industry, such as restaurants, smartphone stores, retail stores, etc., could speak English enough to help us. When we had complicated questions, they would usually send over that English-speaking employee. Many Russians escaped to Armenia when Russia attacked Ukraine. Many of them speak some English also, and none of them told me they are in favor of Russia's aggression against Ukraine. A few Russians said they were here before the war and that prices were higher now because more Russians have moved here. But the prices I'm sharing here are today's prices. As a foreigner here, I don't believe you'll face any additional challenges because you are a foreigner. Armenians and Russians both seem to be curious about and have an affinity for Americans and Europeans. Okay, safety considerations. Armenia and Yerevan in particular seem to have a lower crime rate and fear than in the US. People seem safer in Armenia, but be careful of petty crime in crowded areas such as pickpocketing. I checked the US State Department webpage and they've published a level 2 risk for Armenia. Exercise increased caution, but it seems to be focused on areas closer to the border with Azerbaijan. We often travel to locations with level 2 warnings from the US State Department, such as Mexico, so we have very little concern about being in the capital city of Yerevan, which is not near the border with Azerbaijan. Okay, expat community. Here are a few Facebook pages that cater to English-speaking expats living in Armenia. These online expat communities are great for learning all about things that expats want to learn when they move overseas. But do check each before asking questions. You will often find that someone has answered your question recently, so don't waste their time by asking it again before reading. That way, they'll be willing to answer your new questions you have that have not yet been answered. Medical. This Healthcare International Comparison Index ranks Armenia 68th in the world one spot higher than the United States, which is 69th. There are different ways healthcare is rated, but this one seems to be considering quality of care in relation to what patients are charged. You may decide to seek treatment in one of the countries in the world on this list, such as Thailand or Malaysia. It is also true that there are very good doctors in Yerevan, so make sure to ask around for referrals and establish relationships with doctors based upon feedback you have gotten from others who have used their services. In a general sense, you're looking for young doctors trained in more Western standards during the post-Soviet era of medicine. The above expat Facebook pages may be a good source for that sort of information. Okay, tourist visa. Citizens of many countries, EU, UK, Aussies, New Zealanders, USA, others, are given 180 days of visa entry when they arrive in Armenia. The only thing immigration asked me upon entry was, what is the plate number of the minivan you arrived in? I gave him the last three numbers and he stamped me with 180 days. It was the same story for Chung, but she needed an online e-visa. I'm an American and she is Malaysian. Learn more on this Armenian government webpage. For longer periods, you must apply for a residency permit through the Armenian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay, Armenian residency permits. Armenia does not have a retirement visa per se, but foreigners may be able to obtain a residency permit by starting a business in Armenia, investing in Armenian businesses, and or acquiring income-producing real estate. But these rules are not written in stone online and change from time to time. You should contact a qualified immigration lawyer to sort out the law in this area so you can form a proper strategy. Facebook expat forums likely would be a good source for an immigration lawyer on this topic. Okay, real estate. Presently, foreigners can take title to real property in Armenia and have full ownership rights. However, I do not recommend buying real estate in a foreign country until you've lived there for an extended period of time, making sure you love it. If you decide to buy, you should also get your own lawyer that has no conflict of interest with you. For example, do not use a lawyer recommended by your real estate broker or a local lover. Okay, Yerevan, Armenia, retirement desirability score, I would say medium. I really love the dynamic nature of life in Yerevan, but I would not be willing to put up with snow on the ground anymore because I have not skied or snowboarded in years. But if you love seasons and snow is not a bother for you, and you are a cultural explorer, you would probably rate Yerevan as high desirability. Full report on Yerevan is the first link in the notes below this YouTube video. There you'll see my Yerevan Armenia walking tour, places to see. You'll also see where we stayed in Yerevan, how we got to Armenia from Georgia, Tbilisi, our restaurants, bars, and nightlife, and services we used while in Yerevan, and a nightlife walking tour. What would it cost you to live in Yerevan, Armenia? There's also a coverage of that in the report. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, or subscribe, and grab a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 17 Years and How I Pay for a Life of Constant Travel. Click the video in the upper right-hand corner right now if you'd like to see my top 15 places in the entire world to retire cheap in paradise for 2024.